Hello and welcome to episode 302 of the Smash Accept podcast. I'm your host, Michael Royer. You can find me on Twitter at DynastyDad. You guys keep asking for it. It's now a staple, all right? Our Dynasty trade specials, we're going to be bringing this to you live every Tuesday, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. If you guys are on YouTube, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. If you guys are doing it on the podcast, get into the Patreon. That's the best way. If you guys join in, we're answering Patreon questions. We're doing Twitter questions right there at the bottom, patreon.com/smashaccept. Guys, this show's been absolutely awesome. Over the last couple of weeks, it's gone from something where, we got 15 different trades sent in to now we're between the Patreon, between Twitter, between YouTube, we're up over 100 Dynasty trade questions getting sent out. So the only way that we're going to guarantee that we get to yours is if you guys put out a super chat. Right now, if we get 5 super chats, we're going to Snoog or myself, whoever you want. It's not a competition, but one of us will give you a one-on-one roster review for your Dynasty team. So if 5 guys get in there, we'll have a drawing right afterwards. I'm excited to talk trades. Snoog, the biggest thing about this entire show has been everyone's like, we really get to see you and Dad like dissect trades now. We get to see you guys, your thought process. And this has been really fun for me because it's not like our normal shows.
I start looking forward to Tuesdays now. Like, this is my favorite thing to do is dive into trades, especially with you guys, because Dad, like you always said, your girlfriend doesn't care, your dad doesn't care, your mom doesn't care. The only dad that cares is the Dynasty dad. So, I'm blowing up Dad every week. Like, Dad, should I do this trade? Should I do that trade? He's doing the same to me, Brock, too. We're all including that. So we're here to help you guys with that because we care about your trades. We're here to help you guys construct trades, figure out how to trade rookie picks and all that good stuff. So let's dive into some of these trades here because it's fun when me and Dad disagree on things.
Yeah, I mean, this is your 3rd time on, Brock. First time you just absolutely crushed it. Second time people are like, Dad, who? Now you're back in the host chair again. MC at the bottom. I know you love doing these. We love having you on.
Yeah, these are a good time. It's now our 3rd week doing these. Hopefully going to be doing them all throughout the combine, all throughout pro days and up to the rookie draft. So it's going to be fun once we get into early April, mid-April to then look back on these shows and see kind of just how stuff changed even before the draft. It's a long process. It's a long time, but we got Dynasty Dad and FF Snoog here to go ahead and attack these trades.
You're up on I'm
ready to get into it
over now, baby. Let's
handing you the keys.
All right. So first trade for today is from Rico FFB on Twitter. So one side of it is going to be the 102, the 202, and the 402. Other side is going to be Brian Thomas Jr. and the 210. Are you able to show it there on the screen there, Dad?
Absolutely.
Yep. Snoog, which side are we taking on this one?
Give me BTJ. I have BTJ comfortably over Tet McMillan. I think you're hoping Tet's BTJ at this point to move back 8 spots in the rookie draft. It is a big difference between 202 and 210, but I think that's the gap between Tet and Brian Thomas Jr. for me right now, especially because we don't know. Tet could go 9 to the Saints or to some horrible situation where, even though that's not even that bad actually, but to the Jet, who knows where he could go if he's a Panther or a Pat. He could be pretty equivalent to Brian Thomas Jr. for a ceiling, but right now, give me BTJ for not that big of a move up.
Yeah, I have BTJ the equivalent of the 101 or slightly above at this point, and I'm not giving up the 101 for the 202 and the 402, and then I got to throw the 210 back. I wouldn't trade BTJ for the 102, 202, 402. The 210 is icing on the cake here. So, Rico, if you went out there and you got BTJ for this, I'm all in for that. And if you're trying to, a lot of people are like, well, Dad, I'd make a move like this because the 102, I'll take Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, whoever goes to the Giants. Please don't do that. Find another way to get a quarterback. This is not the way. Even if the only way you don't lose this trade is if Travion Henderson goes to the Cowboys and at 202, you get Devin Neal and you get 2 absolute stud running backs. I'm passing on this one completely, though.
All right. Next trade up here for tonight is from Alexi Shved, also from Twitter. So we got a big one here. We got one side with just Malik Neighbors. Other side's going to be the 106, a 26 first, a 27 first, and then a 2nd and 2/3. So we got, 6 picks for Malik Neighbors, including 3 firsts. I'll go right back to you on this one, Dad. Which side are we taking?
That's Malik Neighbors, not even hesitating. So at the 106, you're going to get maybe Luther Burden, Travis Hunter, who has some upside. These type of trades, and without knowing who this person is on the other side, this is something that a savvy dynasty owner says, you know what, I got the 106 in a trade. I have a late 26 first, a late 27 first, and then he just starts throwing some picks in there. So when these kind of trades, I highly doubt that the guy trading the 106 was his pick, because you're not trading 106 3 straight years, where you're a middling type guy. You're that savvy guy where you're like, you know what, my team's absolutely loaded. I just want Malik Neighbors as my wide receiver 3 because I have Jefferson, I have Chase. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say, you know what, throw this 26 first, throw this 27 first, 26 second, couple turd sandwiches there at the end on those 3 dart throws. And this is how you just polish it up and you get Malik Neighbors for Travis Hunter, and I understand the installation of it, but there's nothing here that has Malik Neighbors upside.
Yeah, I'd actually argue against Dad on this side if I'm rebuilding for sure. Because to me, I'm thinking, okay, in most drafts, I'm going to get my RB2 and Travion Henderson probably at that 106 spot, unless he gets some ridiculous landing spot. I'm going to get a Mecca Igbuka. I'm going to get a Travis Hunter. I'm going to get a player that is a very good asset with upside and 2 more firsts and a second and 2 thirds on top. Mm-hmm. If I'm rebuilding, I think that's a home run. If you can get 3.5 plus firsts for not Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase at the wide receiver position, they're the only guys I think are worth that much. Because realistically, Malik Neighbors still doesn't have a quarterback. Who knows if he's ever going to get a damn quarterback, because Garrett Wilson still don't have a quarterback. So to me, it's like I would pay this if Malik Neighbors had his franchise quarterback right now, but he doesn't. So to me, I think if context matters, if I'm like this guy, like Dad said, I have Jamar and Chase already, and I have this stacked team, and I'm giving up a bunch of late random picks, and I don't need them, I'm taking Neighbors here. But if it's just like a normal dynasty roster and I just like Malik Neighbors and I'm trying to overpay for him, I don't love it.
So my thing is, you're 2026. We're talking about this show next January. Malik Neighbors is the wide receiver 1 overall in Dynasty. It's going to happen. Like, honestly, he just went out there, 140 targets. There's rumor right now, and again, I know it's rumor. Saquon was talking with him at the Super Bowl. Dude, Jameis Winston to the Giants. He gets 170 targets and puts up, the most insane season yet. Like, I think if Cam Ward goes to the Giants, I think we're going to see Malik Neighbors' stock rise significantly. The difference between Garrett Wilson and Malik Neighbors is Garrett Wilson had okay wide receiver 2 numbers with poor quarterbacks. Malik Neighbors still put up wide receiver 1 numbers with some of the worst quarterback play we've ever seen. So I guess context really matters here. If I'm rebuilding, I'm not selling Malik Neighbors for anything. I think I'm rebuilding around him. So that's the tricky part there is like, if this was 103, maybe I'm considering it. But I mean, Malik Neighbors is just so hard. And this is why your rookie drafts matter so much. This is why Snoog and Brock and I are putting together a rookie guide for you guys, because last year we were talking about Malik Neighbors. Last year we were talking about Brock Bowers. You drafted him at 103, 108, and damn, you look like a genius now, because you're now getting, in this particular trade, it was 3 firsts, a second, and a pair of thirds. And I said, nope. And like that's really what you're going to get. And there's some guys.
That was 1 pick last year, and now it can be 6 just
exactly.
1 year later.
Exactly.
All right. So moving on here to trade number 3 from Context Capper over there on Twitter. So we got another one with a player and then a bunch of picks on the other side. So like you mentioned, not Malik Neighbors, but Brock Bowers in that rookie draft from last year. Or on the other side, 3 firsts in the 106, 111, and 112, and a second there 2 years out in 2027. We don't know if this is tight end premium, or do we know if it's tight end premium?
Every single trade in this in today's show is Superflex and tight end premium. There are a couple of trades that are 10-team versus 12-team, but this is a 12-team Superflex tight end premium. He said he has depth at the tight end position. This particular trade, when we put this out there on Twitter, got over 100,000 views because everybody's was like, no players should be worth this. Snoog, what do you think about this trade?
I am taking Brock Bowers here 10 times out of 10 because you can guarantee that they're the other first, other than 106, are 111 and 112. The neighbor side, you don't know what they could be. It could be 101, it could be 110. And you're saving 2 thirds, And I'm taking Brock Bowers over Malik Neighbors and tight end premium straight up.
Because that's the
like
question
that
then.
part, but I am. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Okay.
Best tight end prospect ever. We said that multiple times during the rookie draft process. If he didn't go to the Raiders and he went to the Chargers, we said that like he literally would have been our 104 or 103 in super flex drafts. The Raiders landing spot, I think, scared a little bit of people, but he is the best tight end in the league right now, and it's not close. And he is a guy that you're getting like your next Travis Kelce. I'm paying 2 late first and a mid first and a random second for him all day in tight end premium.
Yeah, imagine, you had a rookie draft last year where you took both these guys. Now people are throwing 6 first-round picks plus, and you're like, nope, I'm not doing it. And I'm not, Snoog, I think this is the same trade. I mean, the other one was 106, 26 first, and 27 first. A 26 late first and 27 late first are worth the 111 and 112. It's just you're a little bit higher on Bowers that in tight end premium, and I am too. Same with Malik Neighbors. I think this is that type of trade where, context matters. I said that Brock Bowers is worth 3 firsts on in the Patreon. I've said it on Twitter. I said Malik Neighbors is worth 3 firsts. But that's not just 3 random firsts. Like 111 and 112 in a perfect scenario, you're getting Colston Loveland and maybe Amarion Hampton. And then at 106, you're getting Luther Burden. None of those are ironclad prospects. None of those are like 106 last year. Because last year you were getting Bowers or Odunze or May at 106, and you don't have that in this class.
I would need it to be like Travion, Emeka Egbuka, and like Quinshon Judkins or Ted McMillan. Like it would have to be that juicy for me to do it. Like it would have to be like Quinshon and Travion if they went like early day 2 to like phenomenal landing spots, and then like another like elite like round 1 receiver like Emeka Burden. But this ain't enough.
And this is a trade you don't have to make now, right? Like even if on draft day you're still not giving up Brock Bowers unless you see this matriculate into who are these guys going to be, and then at 106 we see that Luther Burden goes to the Cowboys at 12, or you have landing spots that actually matter. So those are fun trades. I found both of those on Twitter that were sent to us, and I'm like, this context matters. We say it's 3 firsts, but there's nothing elite there. If you take out in either trade, like if you take out the 106 and you replace that with Sam Laporta, it's a different game. In the first one, if you take the 106 out and you replace that with T. Higgins, now all of a sudden you have a known asset and 2 picks to insulate with that. Then it's right where it needs to be. But random 106 is not doing it for me right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was great insight on those ones there, guys. So moving on here to trade number 4 from the Mass Hole over there on Twitter. So one side of it's going to be Nico Collins, the 101 and 109, or Bijan and the 105.
Ooh.
This one looks pretty even at surface level. Snoog, let's dive into it.
I'm gonna smash the Nico side to me, because I think the difference between Junty and Bijan is probably like an early second, and I'm getting Nico Collins and the 109 for the 105. I'd take Nico over the 105, honestly, straight up. So it's a free 109. Smash the Junty side here. As long as that's Nico Collins, and I'm sure it is. Unless it's like another Nico Lamanueva from Tennessee, and it's like a Debbie, but
Lee.
I'm taking Nico.
Yeah, I'm smashing Nico here.
That's cowbell. Bring it out.
We were getting it. Let's go. For me, it's like the 101 is really close to Bijan. Nico, I have right now worth the 102. So like you're getting the 101, the 102. And the 109 for the 105. And like Snoog said, that's like a free 109, so like you got to take that trade. I love that one a lot. And it's just cashing in on Bijan.
Junty to the Bears, Cowboys, and Chargers. He goes to one of those 3 teams. How close and how far is the gap between Bijan and Junty?
He's the RB3 no matter where he goes is kind of where I'm at.
Agree.
I think the gap, because Bijan and Gibbs are in such great situations. Right. If he goes to the Chargers, the Bears, the Cowboys, I think he's right there. But I think it's still an early second gap. It's not a first anymore, right. But then there's a situation where he goes somewhere where we see it every year, where someone goes to a landing spot that we absolutely hate.
Yeah, we always get screwed with that.
and that can still happen.
Yeah.
All right. trade number 5 here from Tanner Youngerg over here from the Patreon. So looks like it's going to be one side with Garrett Wilson, the 106 and a 26 first. The other side, Jamar Chase, Darnell Mooney, and the 307. Dad, what do we think here about this one?
I'm taking Garrett Wilson here. I think, and I did advise on this trade. So, what we had originally was Garrett in the 106. I said, why don't we throw him a veteran? Because he's doing a minor retooling. So I said, Tanner, why don't we throw him a veteran like Mooney, and let's get ourselves a 26 first involved, and then the guy came back, wanted the 307. Why not? That's a 4 to 8% dart throw. So I love Chase, but in this situation, now we have, even if that's a late first to insulate, we got the 106 where we can play around with that. If you're retooling or rebuilding, I'm not trading Jamar Chase for anyone lower than Garrett Wilson. That's about the lowest that I would go. Give me a London, give me a Ladd, give me JSN, Garrett Wilson, but I'm not tearing down to like George Pickens and 2 random firsts. This is 3 nice assets here for Jamar Chase, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I agree with Dad here. I think if I don't like to have Chase or Jefferson, honestly, in leagues. I do have them in a few leagues, but this is why, because you can get other elite assets plus a ton on top to build out the rest of your roster. People are always like, how do you build super teams? How do you have a team like this? How do you have a team like that? Because last year, Justin Jefferson had the craziest year. We flipped them for 3.5 firsts, or we flipped them for, we flipped J. Jeff in an early second for Chase in mid first, turn that first into like a Drake May, Brock Bowers, Brian Thomas Jr. Then you're getting 2 elite assets for 1. You got to take that risk sometimes. Like this year, now you can do it with CeeDee Lamb with Jamar and Justin Jefferson. You can take Jamar and flip him for Lamb in a late first. Last year, you could have did the vice versa because Lamb was like the wide receiver 1 overall that year. So it's literally a never-ending cycle. And I wouldn't be shocked if Garrett Wilson's name gets thrown around in that top 5 again if they figure out who the hell is going to be throwing the football to him eventually. But if he leaves, it goes to the Panthers or the Texans or one of those teams, he's going to be a 1,400-yard receiver, or the Pats or any team like that where they have a QB with no wideouts. Sign me up all day for Garrett Wilson. I think he's a good buy right now. And if you don't like him, take him and turn him into Puka. Take him and turn him into London. Take him and turn him into Brian Thomas Jr. You're not stuck with Garrett Wilson just because you're trading for him.
The thing here is that I tell everybody, outside of Brock Bowers right now and Josh Allen, I'm not saying there's no one that's anybody on my rosters, and I'll listen to trades for those guys, but I'll trade anybody at any time. Like you got to have the right offer. Like in Smash Except 2, I have Chase, Jefferson, Puka, AJ Brown. Like I don't need it. So this is a move where an embarrassment of riches, I would give Garrett and those extra picks to get to Chase if that was the final piece, right? Because Garrett Wilson has been a wide receiver 2, where Jamar Chase is the wide receiver 1. So like if I'm contending and I have extra assets, give me Jamar Chase all day long, and some of that context matters. But a lot of you guys in Dynasty, and it drives me nuts, is you say he's untouchable. You say those type of moves, and then all of a sudden you end up eating a guy because you have his value sit on your roster so long, you miss out on trades like Snoog and I were talking about, where you start to just make these little moves where you had Jefferson for Chase plus, and then you traded CD for, you just keep matriculating that into more. I can't do it. Everybody's available.
Yeah. So moving on here to trade number 6, also coming from the Patreon from Ant-Man. So one side is going to be Josh Jacobs in the 104, and the other side is Saquon Barkley. Going to be able to watch him in the Super Bowl this Sunday. So Snoog, taking Jacobs in the insulated first, or are we taking Saquon?
Yeah, this is a great insulated move. I think this is way above market value. Bring out the cowbell for Jacobs in 104. Because to me, I'm thinking in my head, okay, I'm getting Josh Jacobs, who's a rock-solid RB1 producer for the next year or two with a contract and a good offense. And I'm getting the chance at the RB2 in this class, who's probably going to have more value than Saquon Barkley going into not next year, but the year after. Maybe even next year if like Travion goes in round 1 or Judkins or someone goes round 1. They're probably going to be thrown around right in the same tier with Saquon. This is a no-brainer move for me.
Saquon Barkley's touches, I believe, are well above 420 at this point. The only running back in NFL history to have more touches that was DeMarco Murray with the Cowboys at 494 touches until his legs literally fell off. Saquon's touches are something that do not talk about enough right now because he's so good. He's been phenomenal, but he's 27 years old. He's not 23 anymore. So I love Saquon Barkley, but I have gone about shopping him in every single one of my leagues. We are going to see 3 or 4 trades here with Saquon Barkley where we were able to cash in. This is Travion Henderson and Josh Jacobs. You're getting 2. Josh Jacobs is an RB1, and then you're going to get something elite at 104. And I think at 104, it's going to be Henderson. If it's not, you trade back and you get even more. And I think we talked about it in 2024 where I told everybody to sell Christian McCaffrey for Saquon. You could check the timestamps. This time last year, I was getting hate mail. I said trade Christian McCaffrey for Saquon plus a first, and everybody's like, Dad, that's just stupid. No, it's not. It's an insulated trade. I did it in multiple leagues where I gave up McCaffrey and got Saquon and picks that turned into the 106, 107, and now I'm going to get another running back on top of that.
Yeah. And
And now you have an opportunity to sell Saquon for Josh Jacobs and another high first. Now you're talking about you did that twice. You had insulated trades that you cascaded twice, where now you've sold Christian McCaffrey for Josh Jacobs and 2 firsts, and that's how you win in
You know what I
Dynasty.
do now? I take Josh Jacobs and flip him for Alvin Kamara in a late first. That's what I would do.
Now you're getting greedy. No, I'm just kidding. But that's the thing. Right? You're going to see it here on the next one here as well.
Yeah, trade number 7 here coming from Ryan Costanza over there from the Patreon. So another one pretty similar. Jacobs in a 27 first or Saquon in a second. Is that a 27 second too?
It's all together. Saquon or the 27
okay.
first and second.
Gotcha. So Jacobs a first and a second or Saquon.
Yeah, I'm doing this again.
Same thing, Jacob's side. Yeah. 27 class is stacked. I'm telling everyone I've been talking to, doing roster breakdowns for and stuff, talking to in the Discord, everyone hit me up for questions. I'm like, buy 27 picks, voluntarily choose to buy 27 picks because it's going to be that next elite class that's going to be so much more valuable than 25 and 26. And you can get, instead of getting just a 26 first straight up right now, someone will give you their 27 first and 27 second instead of giving up their 26 first. I've seen it done multiple times. So many people say it. People in the Discord are even like, I'd rather keep my 26 first and give up my 27 and add. I'm like, no, give up your 26 and keep your 27 first and don't add. So that's what we need to understand here. And this is the opportunity where you're probably getting either a 26 first or the first and second, and they cashed out here.
Yeah, especially on a team where you look at, I see this all the time. I made multiple trades like this in the last week where I look at a guy, and if I'm trading Saquon Barkley here and I'm getting Jacobs, I'm hoping that this guy's team is old. I'm hoping that this guy's making a last-ditch effort where he's like, oh, man, if I get Saquon, I'm set. Because you look at teams that think they're powerhouses, and they have Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon. In 2 years, that could be the 101 because he's out of picks at this point. He doesn't have a lot of opportunities of what to do. And that's how winning is done again in Dynasty is you have the foresight to see what's going to happen in 2 years as opposed to 1, and that's some of our Jedi mind tricks we have at Smash Accept.
All right. So moving on here to trade number 8 coming from Sean Patton from the Patreon. So we got one side with Jerry Jeudy and the 112 and the other side with Tyrone Tracy, the 206 and a 26 third. I'll kick this one back over to you, Dad.
I think this is a Smash Accept. Jeudy and the 112. I prefer Jeudy over Tracy, or at least Tracy, in that same realm. A lot of people are really Tracy truthers. He does have some flash. The Giants likely aren't taking a running back early, but they will take someone to be competition. And I think Jerry Jeudy, had his breakout year this year with Jameis Winston. I think he has an opportunity to rise in value. He's a really strong buy. If you guys didn't watch our Dynasty buy show that we put out on YouTube today, as you guys are watching this, go check it out because, Jeudy is someone that I'm definitely interested in. And then to move up from the 112 to 206, that's another win. So in this area, the 26th third does nothing for me. This almost has to be a 26th second for me to consider.
Yeah, I'm smashing the Jeudy and 112 here very comfortably. Judy very well over the 206, I'd say, and then 112 over Tracy.
Snoog,
Yeah.
you and we're agreeing too much. I'm gonna have to find some here to pick a bone. Let's go. Let's do it.
All right. Next trade here, also coming from the Patreon from Connor Amarine. Shout out Connor. So we got one side is going to be Justin Jefferson. Other side is Puka and a 26 first. Caveat is he's pretty loaded at receiver. He's got CeeDee Lamb, Drake London, and Garrett Wilson, I guess, along with Jefferson. So should he move off, tier down, and get Puka and a 26 first? We got some news. Cooper Kupp's not returning. I see you shaking your head, Snoog. What do you think?
Nah, I'm keeping Jefferson here. I don't think it seems like the roster is very good considering his wide receiver group. So I'm not just getting rid of Jefferson to tier off for no reason. And Jefferson's very comfortably over Puka Nacua for me, especially like Puka's, who knows, like Stafford could retire next year. Like who knows what's going to happen with the Rams. And we don't know what Puka is without a quarterback. Like not everybody can be Malik Neighbors, Garrett Wilson and put up 1,100, 1,200 yards with Zach Wilson and the monkey puppets. Like who knows what Puka Nacua is going to be able to be, even though he is an elite receiver right now. So I'd just take Jefferson here. I'd rather go after like Garrett and 2 first than get Puka.
Zach Wilson and the Monkey Puppets is one of my favorite bands. You know, like they're very, very underrated. You know, I was thinking maybe Zach Wilson and the Milfeteers. You know what I mean? He was slaying there. In this trade, if it's an early 26 first, I would start to consider it. I know here from talking to him and, you know, shout out to Connor. He's in Smash Accept 17. Guys, we did the 3-round reversal for the Kentucky Derby draft. If you guys don't do that, where you guys get to pick where you want to draft from, I got the 101 from the 7 spot. All right, you guys just handed me Josh Allen. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to take you guys down. But Puka Nacua could be in the same tier as Jefferson and Chase by the end of this year. Like, if you remember the games that he had without Cooper Kupp, the targets were insane. Like, we could see a truly phenomenal 2025 season. They're going to draft someone. Everyone's talking about go buy Jordan Whittington. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, just not a thing. You know, package him in a third for a second wherever you can. But they're going to draft a wide receiver, but Puka's going to get peppered. Puka could get 100.
He's his dad would say, turd sandwich.
You just polish them babies up.
His dad would say, just to polish up the turd sandwich and Whittington, go get it. Take him in a couple of thirds and some fourths and get a second.
The offseason is really the time to do that, right? Like, because so many guys on Twitter, you're like, well, who's the next guy up? So you go out there and you add a third to him and try to get any second any year. It's a win. Like, even if you're talking about a 27-2-3 swap and throw in a guy like Whittington, is he going to hit? Probably not. You know, it's not a thing. But Puka Nacua, I am tearing up off of any wide receiver right now outside of those guys. I mean, I know we were talking about absolutely looking at guys that are, you know, that we want to move off of. But I mean, if I can move off Higgins, Rice, Harrison, Brown, London, Wilson, McConkey, I'm doing it. Puka Nacua is going to just get to another level this year. If he stays healthy, I'm pumped.
All right. So moving on here to trade number 10, coming from Josh Duke, also from the Patreon. So we got one side with Kyle Pitts, JJ McCarthy, the 109, and a 27 first. Other side for Saquon, Spencer Rattler, and the 211. Dad, you on the same page as Snoog here with the cowbell? Which side are you taking?
100%. I mean, I put this in there because I was like, wait, this is one quarterback, right? And they're like, no, this is super flex. This is what guy offered me for Saquon. And I think the way this trade worked with Josh is we actually got them to throw in McCarthy here. You know what I mean? It was like, what? No running back is worth this right now. As much as I love Bijan,
I don't even think
I wouldn't trade Bijan for this, but
I don't even think Bijan and Gibbs are. But
if McCarthy starts, he's worth 2 firsts. So now you're telling me that running back's worth 4 firsts. I mean, they're not 4 early firsts, but they're 4 firsts. And then Pitts yet. And the rumor is that Pitts could get traded to the Bengals. Like there's the Bengals, and there's 2 teams right now that are interested in Kyle Pitts. The Falcons are done with him. You know, I think they're looking to trade him. So a lot of opportunity to win this trade. But if for Saquon Barkley, who's going to be 27 years old, I think this is a smash accept. And just so everybody, you guys know, I was the biggest Saquon advocate all year. I was buying him everywhere. I'm not saying I don't love him. I think he's the clear choice for RB1 overall next year, him or Bijan or Gibbs. But when the value is high and he's 27 years old, just like we did with McCaffrey when you guys called me crazy, it's time to at least kick the tires on selling Saquon Barkley.
Yep, I absolutely agree on that. And it's nothing against Saquon. He's phenomenal, but he has that history with the injuries, right? And he goes down once, he loses like 75% of his value again. It's just the way it goes. I don't
Was
make
Christian McCaffrey not phenomenal at this point? He was.
Yeah, he was.
You know,
the
like
best
he was
player in fantasy
bulletproof.
football,
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So before we jump into this next trade, I know Snoog and Dad are running a little special here, and they're rolling out some one-on-one consultations. So Snoog, how can someone go ahead and take advantage of you guys reviewing the roster?
Yeah, just check out the Patreon, which is the fantasy football Discord that we built. The Patreon's just a subscription service to sign up, but over there, Dad and I put together a monster community where you can find all of our rankings, all of our trade advice. We have trade advice chats with 550 plus other members that are active. They don't sleep. You see New York City where it's like 2:00 in the morning and all the lights are on in the buildings. That's the Discord that we built.
Yeah.
So if you need advice at 1 a.m., 2 in the morning, 7 o'clock at night, go to the Discord. You'll be able to get that advice from multiple other people if Dad and I are asleep. We do sleep, unfortunately, so we're not active 24/7, but we're active like 22 hours of the day. Dad might be a rooster, but I sleep. So that's why you get to check out the Discord. It's just somewhere where we're building something special. You can get into leagues there. You can find orphans there. All of our dynasty rankings are there. We're doing a ton of rookie stuff there. We're also building a massive rookie draft guide with 50 plus rookie prospects, everything from statistics, breakdowns of the player, the strengths, the weaknesses, how we project them to be, their prospect grading tier that we have, combine statistics, all that good stuff in there that you can check out as well, dropping next week, hopefully. And Dad, I'll let you kick it over to the super chat special we got going on for some of those roster reviews.
We're going to do a one-on-one roster review for you. You pick myself or Snoog. We'll do that. It's been cool because guys on Twitter, some of you guys like to do it one-on-one. You know, some of you guys like to do it outside the Patreon, and we've done it where, you know, we're doing it where you can have, like my man Brian Earl just did it where we did a podcast for him. You know, so you can choose, you know, a phone call, a 20-minute phone call with something that some of us have done. We'll do a one-on-one where we'll grade your team. We'll tell you what the needs are, give you some trade ideas, and then for 2 weeks, give you access to our DMs. We'll do an entire pod. We got one coming up on Friday with a guy from the Patreon where we're going to do it live with him on the show, you know, and it's, you know, basically we're going to tailor it to whatever you guys want. And there's some of the comments. I mean, like the one guy, he did it, and then the next day he goes, I want to do my next one. Other guys message me, you know, hey, I appreciate all you guys do. You helped me win 2 of my last 3 dynasty or redrafts this year. This was my first dynasty championship, my second year in the league, and you guys put me over the top. Like that kind of stuff. You pay a couple of bucks to get into a Discord, and you're like, let me see what this is all about. Next thing you know, you're adding crazy amounts of league, you're winning money, and all of a sudden your wife is, you know, not going to be your ex-wife anymore. She's pumped up that you're winning money. You know, you gotta set it up. You know, you're going to be like, hey, I can add another league here. I won 1,500 last year. Let's have some fun. So next trade here from Colt Riley.
Yeah, let's dive back into it, guys. So looking at the Patreon here, Colt Riley sent in a trade for the 110 or Travis Etienne and Brandon Ayuk. Snoog, are we taking the first or are we taking the players here?
Give me the players here. Definitely. I love the players here. 2 guys that were worth well more than the 110 going into last year or at the end of last year. They lost a lot of value this year. Injuries, things happen. Both very talented players that could both be worth that 110 straight up if they bounce back. Give me these guys coming off injury seasons. We talk about that injury discount we get for a late 110. I would take this for Ayuk straight up. So it's a free ETN in my opinion. So sign me up all day for this, especially if I have like extra picks laying around and stuff. And it's just, I'm trying to turn picks into guys and get bodies on the roster. Good move here.
Yeah, I have Ayuk work the 111 and the Patreon values. And I think a lot of people are saying, Ricky Purcell's better than Brandon Ayuk and Brandon Ayuk's washed. I'm sorry. If you pay attention to what actually happened, he was not in shape. You saw that he only, you know, by week 4, he was up to 90% snaps because he did hold out. Once he hit that, he was a wide receiver 1. The year before that, he was a wide receiver 1. You're getting the 111 to 110 trade up, and you're getting Ayuk. Give me that all day.
I agree.
All right, good work there, Colt. If you were on the ETN Ayuk side. So moving on here to trade 12, Jeff Laycock from the Patreon. So one side is going to be T. Higgins, Ben Sinnott, and the 111, or Marv, the 301, and the 305. So Snoog, I see you over there reacting to this one in your head. Which side are we thinking here?
Yeah, this one's tough. I go back and forth. I think I like T and 111 here. I think the 111 is going to be a good enough player that it's like going to kind of cover the gap between Marv and T. And then to me, it's like Sinna isn't even worth either third. So it's basically just like I'm looking at like T and 111 for Marv in the 2/3. I don't know. I think I could see either argument made here. I think Dad looks like he's going for the Marv side.
Yeah. You got that Cardinals hat on. You're just not playing it right.
I think I go back and forth with him. If T gets like a massive contract and plays for the Panthers, then what are you saying?
Yeah, like T. Higgins. T. Higgins is interesting, right? Because last year he was in 2023. He was frustrating as hell. You couldn't trade him anywhere because he kept sitting out games. He was missing time. 2022, he missed a bunch of time. This year, he also missed a bunch of time. He just happened to be in fantasy points per game.
Wide receiver 2.
I know.
That's insane.
And to me, Marv, if Marv posts a similar type season to what T did, if Marv posts a wide receiver 1 season, he could literally catapult back up to the elite status right where Malik Neighbors is. So
I agree. I agree with that.
To me, it's where you're at, right? If I'm rebuilding, I don't know, rebuilding or if I'm contending, I think I'm taking T in the 111. If I'm a strong contender, I'll take T in the 111. I'll turn the 111 into, I'll package something up and turn the 111 into Josh Jacobs or James Cook, and I'll go win a championship. If I'm rebuilding, I'm okay with this Marv side. I think this is okay. It's not super sexy on the Marv side, but I'm taking it.
Yeah, it's not too often we see a trade where you guys go back and forth. You think it's pretty dead even, and those happen sometimes. Sometimes there's not always just a clear winner. So
I just want to say before we jump into this next trade, if you're listening on YouTube right now, drop a like. It actually means the world. It helps us a lot just with growing the YouTube channel. So just drop a like. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel as well, because we're doing a rookie mock draft tomorrow. We're doing a trade show every Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, and same with the rookie mocks every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. And then we're giving you guys 4 to 5 shows a week. So we're absolutely crushing the YouTube content right now. We're on Twitter as well, putting stuff out every day, nonstop, and in our Discord. So help us out here.
I just got the email, Snoog. I think we'll have some exciting news for tomorrow's show too. So make sure you guys tune in. We're going to be having something that is just it's going to change the way that you guys play Dynasty fantasy football. It's going to be pretty exciting. So next trade, we got 3 more here, and we're right on track for our time like we usually go for.
All right. So moving on here to the next trade. It's from King over on Twitter. So we got one side with Chris Olave and Drake May, other side for the 101 and 111. So, Dad, what do we think here with this one?
I'm smashing Drake May and Chris Olave. And I know Snoog might disagree with me here, but if Drake May gets T. Higgins or Tet McMillan or A.J. Brown or any kind of alpha wide receiver, or they draft something, Drake May will be worth more than Ashton Junty. I could see it. Right now in startups, they're in a similar area. If this is I know this is 12-team super flex. Chris Olave is worth more than the 111. Drake May's pretty darn close to the 101 for me. So I'm going to take the quarterback here if you're in need. If Drake May's a luxury, if he's your quarterback 4, then I can see going in for Ashton Junty. But I really believe that Drake May's going to take the next step. Made the big-time throws this year. Looked phenomenal with the worst weapons in the league. Like, to be honest, I think this is the worst weapons we've seen. And you see what kind of season he put up, I'm in.
Yeah, this one's tough. I think you get a way better floor with Junty here, just like especially if he goes like 12 to the Cowboys, 10 to the Bears, up in that range. You're going to get a guy that's instantly like a mid-second round starter pick and probably be a top 3 to 5 finisher as a rookie. Mm-hmm. I would honestly probably, it's so 50-50 for me. I would try to squeeze a second on the Olave and May side If I couldn't get that done, then I'd probably just take the Genty side, to be honest. But it's super close.
And
I just don't have faith in the Patriots doing what they need to friggin' do. That's my only thing. If they get one of those guys, I'd take May all day.
Yeah,
but I just don't know if they're gonna.
At this point, like let's just talk about this real quick. Ashton Junty's value cannot go up from where it is. Like, we already are baking in that he's going top 12. Like, he's already valued in the second round of startups. Drake May can go up in value, and I think Chris Olave and the 111, like, I don't think you're getting a Chris Olave type talent at the 111 this year. Olave does have the concussion history, but I mean, Drake May's going 212. I'm saying if they get T. Higgins or Tet McMillan, I think he's right there, and so if you have the 101 and you're quarterback needy, I think you can get Drake May plus, so this is not a deal that you have to make, but I love that one.
Yeah, that's a fun one. So the next trade here from Anthony Amatrano over there from Twitter. So we got a stack here on one side. We got Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase in the 305. Other side is going to be Jaden Daniels, Jalen Waddle, and Trey McBride in a tight end premium. Snoog. Does it make a difference?
Give me the stack. Give me it. I want it. Give me it. It's like that meme when it's like, I need that chicken, and he's like smacking the card on the table. It's like, give me that chicken when it's juicing. That's how I feel about that stack.
This is a sexy trade, like on both sides, because I have Daniels over Burrow, and I have Chase is just elite, right? The 305 is negligible. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It really depends on what you feel about Waddle and what your tight end room is. Trey McBride is my Dynasty tight end too. He's someone that goes in the second round. So is Waddle enough to make up the gap between McBride and Chase? And I don't think it quite is, but it's not that far off. Like if there was if you put a 27 first or a 27-1-2 swap, you guys know how I love to do that. They make fun of me in the Discord all the time. I'm always like, get a 2-3 swap.
Though.
That
stack is gonna be that's gonna be like 800 plus fantasy points for the next 5 years straight, just from those two alone. That's like, to me, that's like Jaden Daniels. If we wake up and it's 2026 and you tell me Jaden Daniels fell off, I wouldn't be shocked. If you told me Joe Burrow sucks, I'd be like, what? Like, Jaden Daniels.
He's still trying to get off the Jaden Daniels hype.
No, he's very good player, but like, what if NFL teams figure him out? What if he can't adjust? Like, there's so many things that could. What if he gets injured? Like, to me, Joe Burrow can't really lose value besides aging. Daniels can't gain value. He's already peaked in value.
I'm taking a stack too. I'm just, like, McBride is just undervalued to me. If that's Garrett Wilson instead of McBride, or that's JSN, then I'm in. And I think you're getting a total overhaul there, and a fantastic.
Is good.
What do you think about that one, Brock? Like, is that enough? Would you consider going with the 3 side, or are you taking the stack?
I would still take Burrow Chase, but it definitely doesn't come down to Jaden Daniels or McBride in this. It's just the Waddle piece. I have him in my Smash Accept league.
He's a Steelers fan. He gets to watch that stack tear up his defense every year.
Torment us every year. But honestly, like you said, if the Waddle was a little bit higher, someone in that kind of like 10 to 12 range, maybe. But for right now, it's like, how can you move off of the Bengals stack? It doesn't make any sense.
Twitter's high on Waddle. If I post about him, they rip me up. But I'm like, try trading Jalen Waddle. Just try.
I can't get much.
I want to buy him. I want to buy.
You're not going to get any
good.
first for Jalen Waddle.
He's a good player. If I can get him for a pair of 2s or 3 2s. I haven't seen him get traded because no one can trade him.
No, you just can't do it. Like,
3
no one
2s
knows
for
his value.
3 2s for like an Olave or a Waddle, though. I'd do that.
Yeah,
those are the guys that were viewed as top 12 dynasty wide receivers just last year. It's like,
Hill gets traded all the time, but Waddle, you just can't see it happening. So let's end it out here with Ray's Outlet.
Yeah. So final trade here from the ones that were loaded up here for Ray's Outlet. So one side is Devonta Smith, Sam Laporta, Xavier Worthy, Tank Bigsby, a 26 first and second. So quite a lot on that side. Other side, I mean, at this point, pretty much just Bowers, but you get Chubb and Olamide Zaccheaus thrown on. Snoog, I see you nodding your head. Yes, Dad, you're nodding in agreement.
That's the type of trade to get me to move off Brock Bowers. definitely. Because I'm
Yeah.
thinking in my head, I can get a second for Bigsby. I can get a late first for Worthy. I could get a first and a second for Laporta. And I'm getting Devontae Smith and like 3 first value plus for Brock
Yeah.
Bowers. Sign me up.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a smash.
Zacchaeus is tough to part with, though. Like,
Yeah.
if he was the sweetener that got this done,
That's
like,
crazy.
he should not be in this trade. But I
Yeah.
put this in there because a lot of you guys are saying Brock Bowers isn't a guy I'm trading. But in this particular one, Sam Laporta is my dynasty tight end 3. You're getting 2 wide receivers who are worth a first. You're getting an additional first, an additional second, and Bigsby, who's a premium insurance running back. Like, if this is a 14 team, this is an instant reset. You're
Yeah.
there. If you're trading Brock Bowers, make it be a haul. And if you have that, it has to be McBride, it has to be Laporta or Kittle. They have to be in there for you, unless you don't already have those guys. The dynasty tight end landscape is one that I need one of those 4 guys, or I'm pissed off. Like, you guys, I mean, I'll show you my rosters. I have them on all of them because I'm not playing with anybody else.
Yeah.
The position's trash until we get Warren and Loveland and Fannin Jr. here. It's going to be something that I'm not interested in. So, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that was a good time. We got some comments too. We got Maybach Mac in the comments here. We got a couple of guys that dropped in some extra trades.
Hey, we ran a little bit long on time. Guys that are doing that, we'll hit a couple YouTube quick hitters. All right. I'm going to put Brock in. I'm going to take over the host seat. We'll bang these out. Brock, this one's from Maybach Mac. Olave or the 26 first and the 208?
I'll lean the first and the second. If it's super late, and maybe that could deter me off, but
Yeah.
I'm having a tough time even moving Olave for first in my Smash Accept league. So I'm taking the first and second here.
Yeah, this is he's getting his first back. I actually talked to him about this trade. He's getting his first back and he wants to rebuild, but his team looks kind of like a contender. So,
Snoog, what's a fair price for DK Metcalf in a dynasty moving forward?
if I'm buying him, I'd pay like 111, 112 because I do think Clint Kubiak is going to be huge for DK Metcalf, the Saints coordinator that turned Rashid Shaheed into a deep threat monster. DK Metcalf is Rashid Shaheed, 6'4", 240 pounds, and on steroids. So I'd pay that. If I'm selling him, I'd want like the 108, 109-ish. I do think he's going to gain a lot of his value back this year.
I'd pay the 109 personally. I think he's going to either get dealt or get used much better.
Yeah.
Brock, Big Fish Dog. Yeah, he's in Smash Accept 15. There's so many of my children in all these Smash Accept leagues. I try to keep them all going on. Dealt Waddle in Smash for the 208 and Waddle for the 108. What do you think there?
I still think I'm going to take the 108. Honestly, I don't know. I'm off of Jalen Waddle. If you're telling me there, if I can get like a Travis Hunter, or I could get a Make a Book or someone there, just clean slate, get like 4 years younger. Waddle's like 26. He was a little bit older coming out there 4 years. I'm just going to take the mid first year.
Yeah, I'm with that. That's like you pay the 208 to reset the clock, because now, I mean, Waddle's what, 25, turning 26.
I think he's 26.
Yeah. So you're going to get a 21-year-old wide receiver and reset the clock. Snoog, I like this one. Jack, number 7, Daniels. So either Jack Daniels, where we were talking Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams in the 304, or Kyler and Pickens.
I'm so bullish on Caleb Williams right now. I would take this. I don't think, unless George Pickens gets traded, I don't think him and the Steelers is enough for me to want to go to Kyler from Caleb. Caleb Williams is a top 7 to 8 dynasty quarterback for me, and he's like the only guy outside, other than like Herbert, outside of that top 5, top 6, that can get into the top 5. Like join like the Hurts, the Daniels, the Burrows type. So Ben Johnson's going to do wonders.
And last one here, Brock, we're going to end up with Quentin A. Clint, what are you doing with Tua?
Tua is in that weird tier right now. I think there's like that tier of like, like him, T-Law, Dak, kind of like that quarterback, whatever you want to call it, like 14 to 19. It's like that range is kind of tough right now, but it's like at the end of the day, if you're saying I'm at the clock on like the 105, 106, I could pay that for Tua or take Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders. If I don't have a QB2, maybe you can justify it. But I think realistically, just like rookie pick wise, I think probably anywhere from like the 107, 8-ish to like the late first, I think is what I'd pay for him if I was really QB needy. But like he's honestly just a hold. Like, I don't know who's
Yeah.
buying them, or I don't know what you could sell them for.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna throw you like 110, and it's like, I'd rather have him, or I don't even know, someone on your bench.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's kind of how I'm looking at it.
he's in the island of misfit quarterbacks, with Trevor Lawrence and Bryce Young, where no one wants to pay you the 105, 106 like you should get, and everybody wants to buy him for 110 to 112. So it's like, until something gives, that's kind of where you're at. So this was a fun show. Every single week we do these, it just gets more and more fun. There's so many comments we didn't even get a chance to get to. So many guys on Twitter that did not, like, we are trying our best to get to as many as possible. But as the show grows in popularity, the only way to truly get your questions answered is on that Patreon. Again, patreon.com/smashaccept. Access to myself, Snoog, Brock, everything that we're working on. So we thank you guys so much for all the support that you guys have given us. Thanks again for tuning in, and enjoy the process.